Hello, everybody. I'm so happy to have you here. I'm going to close this out so that I can see everybody. Let me close this as well. If you're new here, if this is the first time you're seeing me on a masterclass, I would love for you to let me know in the chat that this is your first one. Let me know where you're calling in from. I'm seeing familiar faces, so that's nice. It's really an honor to see people keep coming back. So if you've been here before, please also let me know in the chat. I'm in a really good mood today. I'm very excited to do this. I've been wanting to do this for a very long time. So we're going to go pretty deep today. And if at any point you feel like it's a lot, try to listen with the back of your head more than the front of your head. This is a way to let it land in your body. And we can even try that right now for a little bit, like sort of open the back of your head. And it just allows for things to land a little bit more on the part of you that already knows. I'm going to keep everybody on mute. Thank you so much. Let me open the chat so I can see that also. Yes, no worries, Catherine. You can turn your camera off. That's good. So when we get started, I would love for you to imagine this time-lapse video of nature through many, many, many years, or maybe many, many seasons. And some of my clients that are on here may have heard me talk about this. So imagine like maybe a whole forest coming into being through all these years. So you see the sprouts coming up from the earth, becoming entire trees. If you were to pause that video, you'll see a picture of a tree. Just like maybe right now you look out the window, you just see a tree. So it's very easy to think in that moment that the tree is just a tree. But inside, this light of awareness that we truly are is bursting forth and becoming this tree. And it's a little bit more easy to imagine when you imagine the time-lapse video, right, of the becoming. So even in that still moment, that tree, the awareness is passionately choosing to be alive all the time, right now and right now and right now. And we are the same. And this awareness, as it becomes us and as it becomes like our personal energy, just like a river, it flows between the banks, like that way, that same way our energy flows through the path of least resistance in our body. And the path of least resistance for your energy to express itself is formed by your current neurological pathways, your fascias, all the adhesions in your fascias from all the trauma that you hold, all of your thought patterns, all of your belief systems, all the trauma, everything that's your habitual movement patterns. So all of the ways that you're used to seeing yourself, holding yourself, identifying yourself are the path of least resistance. You can call that like your sense of self. You can call that your trauma, but that's all it is. It's just the path of least resistance. So at any moment in time, you can choose to redirect all of that energy somewhere else, a new neurological pathway, to express differently, to see things differently, to sort of reflect or express this light of awareness just differently. And this teaching alone can set you completely free. It has set people completely free, right? This is a direct recognition of the awareness of your true nature. You're not what you think you are. You're not the sum of your thoughts and your habits and your patterns and your preferences. You are your awareness, and at any moment, you have the choice to express that awareness in a completely new way. But even though we're capable of doing that, we don't most of the time. Why? So it is the mind's job to create safety by creating familiarity, predictability. So the mind expects today to be relatively similar to yesterday. Else it would be bonkers, right? It would be completely chaotic. It would have to come up with all sorts of new coping mechanisms and strategies. Like it's not possible. That's way too taxing. So the mind expects today to be similar to yesterday. And by expecting it to be so, it creates it to be so. Because expectation is creation. So this is kind of an endless loop, right? You see the self-fulfilling prophecy here, because the mind prefers sameness and predictability. It chooses what's familiar. And now in turn, you have proof that your days are relatively the same and that there's a certain pacing or speed to which you can grow and evolve because it's been that way. And that applies to your sense of self too, not just like your life or your days, but all of it, all that a sense of self really is a continuation of thoughts and feelings. Like a sense of self is the felt experience that you're continuing, that you're recognizing yourself from last week to yesterday to today. Now, here's the deal. All of this trauma that I just talked about, all of your habits, your patterns, all of those, they're not actually a thing. It's not a noun. You often see like, these little drawings of someone carrying their trauma on their back in like a in like a big bag, right? That's how we often think about it. But your trauma, it's not a thing, it's a verb. You're traumaing. You're contracting. All of these things that I mentioned are actually actions that you take. And then we have all of the beautiful, marvelous little ways in which we have individually started to contract. Like this is childhood trauma, gestational trauma, intergenerational trauma that's in our DNA. We have past life trauma. And then we also have the fundamental human condition that is just the trauma of being a separate self. That is just pure contraction. That's not even contraction for any reason. That's just life is scary. Death is scary. Everything is scary. Being separate is scary, right? That's just contraction. So while our awareness, what we truly are, is expanding, as you can visualize so beautiful, like in a time-lapse video of nature, it's just this expansion. Right now, the universe is expanding. We are expansion. And then on top of that, there's these little bits and pieces that are contracting. So you think sometimes that life is very hard to change, but you're actually slowing down that change very intentionally. You're blocking the possibility for lots of change. And the contraction costs a lot of effort and energy. And the suffering that follows also costs a lot of energy. So what happens when we start choosing the unknown? What happens when we start saying, can I be okay with a little bit less predictability? What happens when we start inviting in newness, or like what else is possible? And this question, what else is possible, can take you so incredibly far. Like it's one of those tools that looks too simple to be true. And I work with this with all of my clients. But essentially, it's a method for inviting your energy to take a whole different path in the body, a new neurological pathway. It's literally opening the door to a new reality. And I think the reason a lot of people underestimate how effective that is because we don't really think we have a lot of power. Like we underestimate the power of our mind. And it's true, like the mind isn't really that powerful because it's just contracting, right? It's just contraction. But the thing that is so valuable about the mind is that it can direct awareness, and that can change everything. So we think our trauma is just our trauma and our viewpoints are just our viewpoints, but we actually have a choice here. So here's kind of another self-fulfilling loop. Imagine that you want your life to be a certain way. Let's call it your green life, right? It has all of the dreams, all of the things you want, whether it's the money, the success, the relationships, just what you think is just happiness as your life. Let's call that your green life. But right now, your life exactly as it is, let's call that your blue life. It's just the exact version of your life right now. Because there is a difference between these two, we think we don't have any power. Because if I had power, I would create my green life. If I was so powerful and if I could create anything, then my life wouldn't be exactly the way it is right now. Like parts of it are fine, but it's not my green life. And I think this is why we underestimate how much power we actually have, because what we're not noticing is that we're only spending a little bit of time every day consciously creating our green life. Most of the time, we're subconsciously affirming, reaffirming, creating, and recreating our blue life. The parts of us that want predictability, safety, familiarity, the parts of us that are just trying to make it day through day, those parts want your life to be exactly as it is right now. And if this hits hard, I want to really validate that, because I remember the day that I realized like the extent of my responsibility for my own life. I think I cried like the whole day. That is such an overwhelming realization. Everything that I have right now in my life, everything that I am, is exactly because that's what I'm an energetic match for. That is exactly my creation. Ow. That was tough. So you're still here with me today. You haven't immediately left the meeting. I'm so proud of you. I'm so grateful that you're here with me because my life really started after that full responsibility. So now what? Now that we've established all of that, what do we do? So when I had my first spiritual awakening experience, like almost a decade ago, I think it's 8 years ago now, I stopped existing as a separate self for a while. And when I came back to normal, I looked for a spiritual teacher to help me make sense of things. And he essentially said, ego is a verb. Just stop doing it. And I said, wow, I get it. That's amazing. And I really tried. And then he said, no, don't try. Just stop. And then I really tried not to try, to just stop. And I think what we all know what we're getting at here. Like, this is a very beautiful, direct practice that I really committed to for a long time. But then something else happened. I got pregnant and I got very sick. And I got so sick that in the second half of my pregnancy, I realized I had PTSD from the first half of my pregnancy. And I was quite smart, so I decided to get some trauma work, because that did not feel like the right state of mind to go into my first ever birth with. And during the time of that trauma work, I realized I have a lot more than just PTSD, right? I have stuff from my childhood. I have stuff from previous generations. I have past life stuff. So then I started doing almost the opposite of what I just described. The method of just stop doing it and just recognize your awareness made way for a phase of really, really deep work, a lot of doing. And I'm really grateful because I got my PhD in trauma work during that time, and it was super valuable. So this brings me to where I'm at now in both my personal practice and what I do with my clients, is that I see it that there's both expansion work and contraction work. And I think they're both super valuable. And I think the progress is phenomenal when we include both. So expansion work is remembering what you truly are. And a lot of spiritual traditions believe that if you do this long enough, it will dissolve everything that's not pure awareness. And I believe that. In theory, I really do, especially if you could relocate yourself to a monastery and really commit to a life of doing this. I think it's the highest practice. My teacher, another teacher, taught me it's essentially unbecoming the person to whom your karmas apply. And I love that. And contraction work, the way I see it, is the deep trauma work. So this can be somatic experiencing, breath work, parts work. I have my own modality now that from all of the trainings that I've done and my own personal experience that I love. It happens to work really well for my clients. It's like a combination of the deep somatic with a little bit more dialogue, which makes it a little bit faster and more efficient, because I like to get to the core of the issue fast. But it can be anything. Any way that you know of doing deep trauma work is perfect here. But if you do the deep trauma work without expansion, it can leave you endlessly healing yourself without realizing your innate wholeness. And I was stuck in that for a while. It keeps you stuck. And this is where people become really, really good at trauma work, but not being actually happier. So the capacity to be with the ups and downs in life increases, but the baseline for bliss and joy doesn't really. Because like I said, as the mind still looks for sameness, even though you have the capacity to be with much more and you have much less pulling on you in the way of past experiences, the baseline is the baseline. So you want to calibrate the nervous system to hold something else, to hold joy and bliss and expansion to a whole other level. Now, expansion work without deep work can leave you feeling really frustrated, and it feels like maybe it's just not working, right? You're not really feeling better, but it doesn't really matter as much anymore. You know, you become really good at ascending away from the day to day and from your problems. And maybe you feel like you don't really get to the core of the issue, and you don't really gain a lot of personal power and the ability to just be with anything and create the life that you want. So this is why I always include both contraction and expansion. And I want to go a little bit deeper here, because besides that point, which I think is very important for everybody to really include both expansion and contraction, I want to go a little bit deeper into the deep work, because one thing that I've noticed as I've been reflecting for months now, because I really get this question a lot. People that have been in my world for a while keep asking me, why do you grow so quickly? How do you always evolve so quickly? And one thing that I've noticed is that when it comes to the deep work, I go all the way, like all the time. If something comes up, I'm in a bad mood, I'll try to clear it. As some of you know how I do this, it's something I can also teach. And I ask, what else is possible? And if this doesn't work, or if it keeps coming back, I immediately ask myself, when is the first time I felt this? Like, I will go lay down on the bed in the middle of the day, feel my body fully, and say, when was the first time I felt this? And see what memories comes up and see what I can process. And I talk to these parts of me with so much love, like they're children, small versions of me. And I know some of you have experienced when I do this, like it's a genuine, like the mother in me just lights up. I'm like, I love you. I'm not doing this to try to get rid of you. Like, I want to hear you. You deserve to be heard. You deserve the love that you didn't get at the time, the guidance and the strength. And I'm often a little bit surprised when I talk to new potential clients, or when people out in the wild find out that I'm a coach. You know, they'll say something like, yeah, I want to build this and this and this, but I have this limiting belief and therefore I can't. I'm like, if you know that you have that, do something about it. Like, immediately, can you clear your schedule and give yourself an afternoon to pull on all of these threads and just be with yourself and ask questions? Like, ask questions, ask questions. Go to the core of it. And if you're hearing me and you're feeling like, I can't, this one thing that I have, I can't clear. Can you ask yourself, body, can we let that go? Can we let go of the idea that this is the one thing I can't let go? And I have a recording that I'll send to everybody that was here, now that I think of it, where I'll guide you through what a yes and a no feels like in your body, which is a super helpful tool to have. So can you choose a reality in which it's possible to clear and let go everything with the right tools, with the right methods? What if there is nothing that you're currently holding in your body that you cannot process? Like, what is possible then? So let's see. Does anyone feel any resistance to what I've just said before I go on to the next part? This is landing. Okay, great. Okay, wonderful. Perfect. Then I'm just going to continue. So trauma is a verb, right? You just have to stop doing it, which can be really frustrating advice because it's not easy to do. So you have to learn the stopping. You have to learn the unbecoming, which is what you could call all the clearing and the trauma work. But we can never forget that we're not the contraction. We can never forget that awareness is already here. We're already it. We've always been it. We have to remember that from the perspective of the ego, all of our trauma, all of our beliefs, all of our thoughts, it's like this immovable mountain that is in between us and where we're trying to go. But from the perspective of awareness, we're in this magical garden that's just blooming with beauty. And there's one ant, one very anxious, stressed out little ant. And that is all that our ego is like. That's how small it is from the perspective of our awareness. And this is where expansion work is absolutely important, because it's like, it's being the garden, remembering what we already are, remembering where you're going. And to put a little bit more of the other side then in perspective, one saying that I really like from a spiritual tradition I was trained in is that it's like plucking a thorn from a bush to take out another thorn. So this is where you can use the mind to clear limiting beliefs in the mind, but then you still want to discard the second thorn, right? You don't start worshiping the second thorn as this is now the truth, right? This is my savior. It got rid of the first thorn, right? You still want to discard both. So I hope this makes sense of the sort of the field that I see it, because I think a lot of people, if you get lost in the deep work, like I said, you don't really actually get to the direct recognition of what you already are. And if you're only spending time on the direct recognition, it can really feel like the progress isn't really there at the level that you want. So ask yourself this right now. Do you believe that you can go all the way? And where are you using beliefs such as, divine timing to slow things down? Or beliefs such as, well, you always hold on to some things. And one thing that I found really helpful is I started doing this a couple of years ago. This idea that, and you might have experienced it at some point in your life, but you're out with a friend and they run into someone that you don't know, and they're suddenly behaving very differently, right? You see a whole different version of their personality, and it's a little bit uncomfortable. You're like, who are you? Can you give yourself permission to surprise yourself that much? Because that discomfort of not recognizing your friend in that moment, that is what we do to ourselves. And that discomfort is what we're not willing to feel. People come to me all the time saying, I want the change that you have. I want the transformation that you have. I want the results that you have. I want the success that you have. But they're not comfortable with surprising themselves at all. So can you do that? Can you give yourself the permission to just be a little shocked? It's like, whoa, that came out differently. Whoa, that's a different point of view. Whoa, I don't have that preference anymore. What else is possible? And stay in that energy. Before I go any further, anywhere else, I want to see if there's any questions. You can put anything in the chat or anywhere where you feel like this is where this makes sense. This is where this is confusing for me, because I want to take some time to answer some questions before we go to the final part. Yeah, Yanis, hi. Good to see you. It's been so many years. I think you're muted. Yeah, hi.
Yeah, hi, Ricky. I don't know. I don't have really much questions yet because I'm quite new to this. And I was a bit busy, but I really enjoy what you're telling, so keep it on.
Great, great. Thank you. So there are most people here actually have experienced the work that I do. And I was wondering if anybody would like to come up and do a little bit of coaching around this so people can see. Rosemary? Yeah, awesome. Let me see if I can pin you too. So we add a pin. Now we can see both of us. And I'm going to unmute you as well. Oh, you'll have to unmute yourself. I can't do that for you. Yeah, hi.
Hi.
How are you feeling today?
I'm just so excited to be here because I feel like everything you are saying is just exactly what I need. And I only heard you, I don't know, maybe 10 days ago. And what I heard is what else is possible. So I've been asking that. And sometimes that's enough to shift me. And I've done a session with you, which was incredible. And so I try the clearing and sometimes I can't. So it's like, okay, what needs to, and so then I sit with that part and it's just so perfect for my place in this path. I'm just incredibly grateful.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I love doing a session with you. That was phenomenal. And for today, are you ready? Would you like to dive in a little bit just so that people can
Yes.
see and experience? Okay, wonderful. So as you feel your body and get comfortable, and I know that Rosemary's quite experienced in being with herself and has her own modalities here, what are the areas in your life where what else is possible feels very sticky or not so much a fun question?
My hands.
Okay, great.
And underneath that, there's so much fear in my heart,
Yeah.
almost immobilizing. And it literally stops me. I mean, my hands get so cold, it's like they're frozen, and I'm immobilized.
Yeah. As you feel your body, bring on a little bit more awareness into your hands.
They're very cold, like numb.
Yeah. Does the numbness have any color or any shape?
I want to say black,
Yeah.
maybe like this big, I don't know, it looks like a square rock, big square rock, just dense.
Yeah. So I want to say hi to the big black dense square rock. Say, we're not doing this to get rid of you. I love you. You came into Rosemary's life for a really good reason. You're likely the reason she's still here today, so I'm so grateful. With that love, is there anything this black rock wants to say to us?
Well, the moment I defined how I saw it, big black rock, it was like an opening expansion in my heart that started to move down my arms a little bit. And the big black object wants to say, we're immovable, darling. You have to face us. You can't bypass us. You have to deal with us and move through us.
Yeah.
We are
But I
in your,
feel in my, yeah, go ahead.
We are in your way for a reason. We're stopping you.
Yeah. What I felt the moment we started speaking, I could barely move my hand. So I become a little bit of an antenna for people's energy. My hands were on my desk and I could barely move them. And I could feel from my heart an active retracting away from the hands, like you're trying to get away from your hands. So immediately your heart actually started moving to your hands. Do you see how brave you are? Like, do you see this work?
Do I see this work?
Do you see how, like, the work that you're doing and how phenomenal it is? You just take a moment to be with yourself and immediately you go towards the thing that's been terrifying for so long. That's amazing. So as you move your chest towards your hands, let the energy flow from your heart into your hands.
Mm.
I see how that feels for the black rock to receive you. Again, without trying to get rid of anything. Just pouring love, awareness. What happened in your hands?
The hands feel like there's a little more energy. And this big black object becomes almost like two hands sculpted out of rock or stone that I get to just cradle in. It just keeps, this just trying to keep me safe.
Yeah. There's tremendous strength in these hands. Do you feel that? It felt less that way when they were completely a rock, because when something's frozen, it doesn't feel strong, but you feel how amazing the strength is in these hands. Yeah. When was the first time your hands decided to be this strong?
I don't know. It's like I picked myself up by my bootstraps and said, okay, we're alone. We got to do this. We got to get tough. We got to do this.
Yeah.
I feel like I was a child, almost like 1 year old.
Yeah. Can you feel the memory of the moment? Like can you remember the felt sense of the moment? It doesn't have to be the exact memory, but can you feel almost like that decision moment of, I'm alone, no one's taking care of me, I guess I gotta just freeze my strength in these hands.
Yeah.
Yeah. Feel it for a moment. Yeah.
It's just like she's just this little baby girl and she doesn't need to take on that responsibility yet. She needs me.
So there was a moment of overwhelm right before this decision. Can you feel that?
Oh, yeah.
And for those watching, feeling is digesting, right? Is transmuting. So just the fact that she's feeling it right now, she's processing stuff she wasn't able to process at the time, that she does have the strength and capacity for now. And then I would love for you to speak from the grown-up, strong, mature version that you are today to the version of you that decided to freeze and lock up your hands. And there can maybe be some gratitude there, but there can also be some parental saying, like, we're now going to try something different because I would actually like to use my hands in a different way, right? You are in charge here.
Hi, my little precious darling. I love you so much. And I admire your strength. You're so strong. And I would like to choose a new way for us, darling, for one, that I show up and be there for you and take care of you. There's no reason a baby girl has to take this on. I'm going to help you carry this, my love, and just release your shoulders, release your hands. Just let that incredible love that you are flow from your heart into your arms and hands, just melting all that frozenness. We're choosing a new way, my love. Can you be open to choose a new way to use your hands? She starts clapping her little hands and says, yes, yes. Maybe not the word. She says,
just the energy. Yeah. And I get, when I do this with people, I transmute with them for them. And whenever I get very warm, all of a sudden, I know a lot of energy is releasing. So that's phenomenal. And as I've taught you on the one-on-one we did, this is also a beautiful moment to say, body, can we clear the overwhelm? Body, can we clear the frozen in my hand? Like, now that we've gotten to the core of it, it is very powerful to clear. So I'll give you a moment to do that. And because I know you know what you need in your body. I'm so proud of you.
Body, can we clear this frozenness in my hands? Can we let it go? A big yes. Thank you. Can we clear it now? Yes. Thank you.
Now, whenever you're ready, whenever you feel complete, you can come back to us.
Thank you.
All of you. Thank you so much for being brave. This is the work of a final lifetime. I've said this before. I say this a lot. Like this is for the people who suspect they can go all the way, that there might be the possibility of enlightenment for this lifetime. Like this is paradigm shifting work. I'm really grateful for you. And you always make me emotional. So thank you.
Thank you. 1,000 thanks.
Okay. So let me think about where I want to go with this, because this went actually even better than what I'd hoped. This is really fun for me to do. So here's what I want to do. I had about 5 hours worth of material when I was writing for this masterclass, and I thought this isn't going to work. Like, we're going to be here forever. So I had the idea for a course that I wanted to do, and it's called Unbecome. And I want it to be really accessible because, as many of you know, my prices have been going up, and I'm very grateful for how the work is going. So I have my one-on-one coaching that's out of this world. Like, I am so excited. Like, we are doing paradigm shifting work together. And I've been going on I have this spot on my calendar that says client walks, and I'll just go for a walk and I think about all my clients and I think about where they're at, and I feel into the energy and I clear their energy, and I feel into what they need and what's possible for them and all the things. And I'm proud of the work we're doing together. But I wanted to do something that's a little bit more accessible. So there's going to be a course called Unbecome, where I'm going to teach all the steps of my daily protocol. And it's free, by the way, for the people that already one-on-one clients right now. So one-on-one clients get access to everything I've done before and everything that I'm doing live. So I'm going to teach the whole method of clearing. I'm going to teach the whole method of deep work that I do with the dialogue and the deep feeling and the whole way that I do this. And then we're going to go into expansion, because expansion is the most important thing. And that's, I think, what I wanted to throw in today as a bonus, because I wasn't sure if we're going to get there, but the frequency in the room today is perfect. So we're going to go into expansion a little bit. So all of that, the course is going to be $444. So it's going to be either 4 or 5 modules. And for anyone who wants to share this masterclass, I thought that would be nice. Like, if you want to write something about it on your social media to the replay of this, you get 111 off. So it's 333. I'm going to completely over deliver on this course. It's going to be my whole total protocol. There will be room for coaching as well. Like, I don't want this to just be theory. Like, I want you to get this. I want you to feel this. It's probably not the best fit if you've never done any trauma work before. What else did I want to say? Yeah. And we're also not really going too much into creating from expansion, because that is phase 2. That's going to be New Year's energy. And that's where there will be another masterclass, another free one as well. So if that's interesting to you and you want to join at the discounted price, but you want some time to write about it, please do let me know. That's totally fine. If you do share about it, I would love it if you could say something that you thought was helpful or something that you got out of this, because I'm not just trying to like attract the most people possible into my world. Like, I just want the right people to make a decision whether or not this is a good fit for them. So that would mean the world to me, and that would be very helpful. And talking about the right people, I really felt like everybody here was perfect for what I wanted to share today. So thank you so much. You mean the world to me. I'm going to end this with a short expansion practice. So if everybody's in a space where they feel comfortable and they feel kind of safe, you can close your eyes. And I will play some music in the background. So Emma, if you could let me know if my voice starts becoming all goofy with the music, then I'll turn the music off. Let me go in my history. Okay, share sound. Let's see, where can I share the sound? I might have to share it. Do you guys hear the music? No, huh? There used to be a button, share computer sound. Just gonna do it like this. Working now? Okay, wonderful. MA, please let me know if it gets goofy with my voice. It's good? Okay. Thank you all for being with me today. And close your eyes, get comfortable. And I don't share this often because the energetic clearings and the calibration that I can do, it's probably not new to me, but it's new to me that I realize that I can do this for people, that I can clear someone else's trauma, that I can clear someone else's attachments and energy, and that I can pull people into my frequency. So I don't share this often because it's new to me. It's something that I'm practicing and working on with my spiritual teacher. But because I feel like the frequency of this room was just perfect. Like I can feel all of you and I can feel this landing, and I know you're the perfect people. So I'm not just gonna guide you through an expansion. I'm gonna calibrate you to the expansion. As you're getting more and more comfortable, on your next natural inhale, invite your energy to expand. And just follow where this happens the most easily. Trust that everything is going just perfectly. Expand your energy beyond your body to fill the room that you're in. Out through your neighborhood. And let the expansion be strong. Your center stays strong. As you expand to be as big as the planet. start trying a bit hard, let it be easy. This is what you naturally are. And I got you. And any interference or contraction that you run into, just expand around it. And the light of awareness just vaporizes it as you keep expanding. All the way through the solar system. And maybe here you start to pick up on the Satchit Ananda, or the fact that the very nature of awareness is very subtly blissful. And at every stage of expansion, I'm using my energy body to solidify, stabilize, and also relax your expansion. As you expand all the way beyond the solar system into the universe, see if there are parts of your body that aren't expanding as much, and gently invite them in. What else is possible? Can we expand here too? That's it. That's a shift. There you go. This energy washes your cells with pure awareness. There is absolutely no reason for tomorrow to be like yesterday. Anything is possible now. The things that you have already healed and overcome, what you have already created. Imagine what you can do when you become more energy than matter, more expansion than contraction. Now invite in the parts that normally might even feel numb. They didn't even recognize that they were not expanding as much. And just like that, on the next exhale, expand all the way beyond the universes with all that you are. And if it's helpful, ask the mind to rest. The body can do this. This expansion is what I create from, what I try to live from. It is the truth of what we are. Allow it to feel joyful. Yeah. Allow it to feel happy. See the wholeness, feel the wholeness that you already are. While I calibrate your magnetic fields to the frequency of this wholeness, to the frequency of expansion. Now, without losing your expansion, bring awareness to your body back a little bit more too. Seeing if it's possible to not so much fade out or drop out of this, but take it with you as you slowly come back. Seeing what you can take with you, a recognition for how accessible this is, how available. And whenever you open your eyes, you say thank you to yourself. Thank you so much for being with me today. This was awesome. If you have any questions, either about Unbecome, about this masterclass, about one-on-one coaching, my messages are always open. I would love to see you on the next one. I'm already excited. And really thank you for showing up in the energy and frequency that you did today. It's the honor of a lifetime for me to do this work. Like, I used to be the only weirdo having spiritual experiences and feeling like I'd never belong and fit in anywhere. And now I have friends and I have clients and I have teachers, and we're all on the same path, and it means the world to me. So thank you for today, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.